So, good evening everyone. I'm Peter, and I'm so thrilled to be joined by Marc, Dean, Steve and Jim. Thank you so much for joining me. Did everyone enjoy that, yeah? Yeah, the selection committee, we absolutely loved it. We've given it 5 nominations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, best feature film, best local film, best actor for Dean, cinematography and director for Marc. So yeah, we are unequivocally, we all absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And we knew the audience would love it as well.
Oh good, no I'm pleased, yeah. And it's only its second outing, so it's good to see it in front of an audience.
Yeah, great stuff. So first question, where did the inspiration come from to write this film? What were you thinking?
What were you thinking? Me and my wife were going through a really troublesome time, and I thought, I wonder what it would be like. No, it was kind of reverse engineered in that I had written another feature film that I was trying to get off the ground, and I couldn't do it. And then once I decided that no one was going to give me any money, and I would go out and make it myself, I kind of wrote a load of log lines. Most of them were terrible, and then this was the only one that kind of stood out. And I think the log line originally was something like, a man meets, this isn't the log line, don't quote this. It was something like the man meets a sea creature and then he teaches him how to salsa dance. Or so, I mean, it was really, that part never made it in. And yeah, I think that was it. And then there's been a few, you know, the Shape of Water comparison is obviously always there. And there was an old, really, really old John Pertwee Doctor Who episode called The Sea Devils, where there's this really, this kind of naff-looking monster, as it was in the sort of 70s, 80s, kind of coming out of the sea. Obviously just a bloke in a suit. And I remember myself and Jim, the production designer at the end, we looked at that clip loads, and we just loved the idea of, what it'd be like if somebody took it home and made love to it.
You tell me there wasn't a real manfish in that? Yeah, I mean, Shape of Water in Canvey Island is how we sold it, and I mean, yeah.
Yes.
You have to sell it as that, don't you?
Yeah, Shape of Water meets Snatch is what we've been trying to go for with distributors. Or it's Shape of Water meets Shameless, but then it's a TV show, so yes, yeah.
Fabulous. So Dean.
Hello.
You are absolutely amazing in this. We all loved it. So good. Your performance. When did you come on board? At what stage?
I think I was having trouble finding somebody who wanted to sleep with a fish.
You knew just the guy, yeah?
I had this website of me and animals, and they just thought, you know what, give him the go, he looks alright.
He's the guy.
That was quite late, I think. I think you'd actually cast most of it, from what I hear.
Yes, Dean was the only person we auditioned because everyone else is a friend. So I started out as an actor, and I've got lots of very kind. And weirdly, the only part that we needed was the lead part. So Dean, it's not even a year old yet. We shot it in late March last year, and I think you come on board. We auditioned like early Feb, I think.
Yeah.
And then we didn't really see many people after that. He kind of just smashed it. So Dean's, sorry, I'm taking your. I don't know if you remember this, but your audition tape was the scene where they do the wrapping, and Dean had set up a little cushion. It was one of those shit emoji cushions.
Yeah, it was a shit emoji.
As his manfish on the sofa, and he was teaching it how to fold wraps. Like you.
I wanted my wife to be in a manfish. She's like, fuck off. Which was weird because she doesn't even talk like that. So I was like, she was in character as well. So. But no, I used a little poo emoji with my little manfish just so I could interact with him. You know, it solved it. I thought the actual poo emoji was better than the.
We should have.
I'm joking. No, I love the manfish.
Yeah. The characters and that, especially the beginning, the bit in the pub where they're talking, I had to actually leave because I got the giggles. The bit with the line with the, I won't repeat it, but the fried egg sandwich. Yeah. I had to leave.
Well.
Yeah, somebody said that to me once, so I thought, I know what I'm going to do with that.
So was that a lot of that ad-libbed, or did you write that?
No, lots of it was written. You guys did have, there was free reign.
Mostly written, I think.
Yeah. But
is that good? Is that the right?
I've got, most of it was written, but my background, and so most of the people in it were all comedy actors, and I started out as a comedy actor working comedy improv. So the script was always there as a kind of like, let's do this if all else fails, but if you've got anything funnier on the day, and it's funnier than what's written in the script, which happened quite often, then these guys were allowed to do it. Yeah. So there was some ad-libbing, but I think that line was always in there. And Chalk Ice, played by David Alexander, is here tonight. That's the first time he's seen the film. He still is.
I'd like to say improvise eating that flour.
That's genius. That's genius.
Yeah.
But a more of a serious question for Dean. What was it like playing opposite someone who you couldn't sort of play off in terms of facial expressions?
To be honest, it was easy because Matty, who's not here tonight, is so animated.
In the suit?
Yeah, I can... It's weird. After working with him, the mask for so long, you feel like it is actually real. You know, I mean, I work him with the shit emoji, don't forget. This was like an upgrade.
Yeah.
So it felt quite real to me, and his eyes, his big eyes that Steve made, I kind of felt it was just real. I just had to treat it as a real person. And I kind of did, I fall in love with him, but I did. It's quite an attachment, you know.
Yeah.
He's very got soft hands as well. No, but you just, it's like acting against a woman or another man, and you just feel an attachment because you go through so much together, and it sort of felt real. You had to believe it. You had to believe it yourself, otherwise it wouldn't sell.
Absolutely. You know? Oh yeah, when I was watching it, I thought this could go horrifically wrong. Like, they could misjudge the tone of this really badly. But the writing and the acting just really made it. It could have been really terrible. The idea could have been ridiculous. You could have just laughed it off the screen. But it's really, really well written. And the pathos and the comedy both work, which is really difficult to do.
That's a testament to Mark's writing, but it is about doing it in a serious. I mean, I was really serious in it. So like me, I'm sort of used to being stupid all the time now. But even though it was a stupid situation I was in, I was actually. So I had to play it straight, because then you hopefully felt sorry for him. Oh, poor little Terry. I hope he runs off with Manfish. You know, it's a bit weird, but you kind of root for him in that way. I hope, you know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Manfish. Let's talk to Steve about the sculpture you went ahead. How do you become part of this project? How did you come involved?
Very luckily, really. I came on quite late. I run a little company called My Magic Studios. I make silicone masks, prosthetics, bits of costume, and I had an email from Marc outlining the project. I had a little look through it. This is quite interesting. And then after that came some concept drawings. I think that Jim supplied. Yeah. And I looked at it, and I immediately, in my head, I could see how I would translate that from 2D to 3D, and I loved it. I loved the idea. So I just went straight back and let's do this. I can see in my head, I think, where you want to go with this character, and I'd love to give him a go. So my job was then to take those drawings, and there was a little to and fro where I'd sculpt a bit, send it back to Marc and Gav, and they would look at it and go, yeah, like that, little change for there, make some changes, send it back, and then we go from there, really.
Did you have any idea of Did you have any things in mind? Obviously, Creature from Black Lagoon, I guess, is
it's tricky. You kind of have to. You draw from inspiration, but you don't want to go to. You don't want it to look like I always tried to copy the Creature from the Black Lagoon, or in fact, that the Sea Devils was in my mind as well. Not a little, but more perhaps. I'd had a conversation with Marc about, what's the character of the Manfish like? Is he bad? Is he good? Is he a little bit sad? Is he a little bit dweeby? How do we feel? And I tried to put a little bit of that character into his face, which is difficult when you're working with a fish head and you're trying to put human features onto a fish head.
Don't talk about things like that. So Jim, when do you come on board, and how closely do you work with Steve there?
Well, I can't remember how. I think it was the thing where we were discussing projects, and we were just talking about the fact that we wanted to do something that was realistic, that we could pull off, and so it became a problem solving. Like, we've got this much money, we want to do a project with this scope, so how do we kind of reduce it down to make it achievable? So we were quite early. I mean, you gave me a script, and then after that, as soon as I read the script, then we started really workshopping it for the nuts and bolts of. Okay, this would be great to do that. And I think the big thing was we never thought we'd get such a perfect house. for a start. That was as soon as you sent me the recce photos, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, yeah, okay, we can do it now.
We much work. Yeah,
we managed to pull everything from it. But creature design wise, we worked with Nick, the costume designer, and originally it was like some of the first concept drawings that I did and that we sort of played around with were very kind of Marvel superhero costume kind of thing. It was clean and shiny, and then we went, imagine this guy's been kicked out of his basement by his parents. Like they just said, get out and find someone for God's sake. So he's kicked him out of his house, and this is like probably 2 generations of suit ago, and it's like a hand-me-down, so that's why we sort of went, put some wear and tear on it, and then detritus that he's picked up as he's moved through the sea, and then we kind of, I think the comb over was part of it as well.
There was a comb over at one point, yeah, there was.
Not me. I mean, I asked for it.
Yeah, we talked we had really long conversations about that. There was this race of fishmen under the sea, like Atlantis, where they lived and they were all perfectly formed, and then there was this one who was just a little bit, matching Dean, who kind of made his way.
I don't have to stay here and take this one.
He was the kind of black sheep of the family, and then and he just so happened to turn up in Canvey Island, and then him and that's how they kind of met. So he was always meant to be this. Yeah, he was at one point he had like a lapel on.
So we talked about like sort of, we just went through silly ideas like the idea that came to me, the dating thing of the idea of like, you'll know me because I'll have like a pink carnation in my lapel. So that's why he's got like a little fish squid lure the wrong way up stuck in his thing. It's like a little reference to that kind of an idea that it's like a lapel flower. But we had like a lot of silly ideas that put their way in.
So local film, obviously shot around. Tell us about who's responsible for choosing the locations.
Well, we shot it. So it's obviously set in Canvey Island. We shot it in 12 days, I think, or 12 and a half days, and only about 3 or 4 of those days were actually shot in Canvey Island due to the ridiculously low budget of the film. So 8 of those days were shot in the house. So we kind of shot all of the house stuff first, which was really lovely. We were kind of a big family, cast and crew, all having kind of homemade meals in the house. It was really lovely. And then we left the house, and then it all went to shit because shooting on location is always a nightmare. So the rest of it was filmed in and around Redbridge, which is like a neighbouring borough to Havering, and then we spent 2.5 days in Canvey doing all the beach stuff as well. And we had to do 1 day in Isle of Sheppey. So the opening scene is in Isle of Sheppey it's meant to be a kind of match to Canvey Island because Canvey only really has 1 beach. So we're kind of looking for this industrial feeling beach similar to Canvey, and we found the Isle of Sheppey. And it's very cheap to shoot in Kent, if anyone is interested.
One of the things, sorry to jump in, one of the things we did early on with the mask is we decided to have the eyes so that you could just unplug them, make it a little bit easier for the actor to, between takes, he could have a break, literally pop his eyes out. And by the way, I think Matty, it's such a shame he's not here tonight, I think he was absolutely brilliant in that mask. He took a bit of rubber and he really breathed life into it. But I think Mark's probably better off telling this story. There is quite a funny story involving the eyes, which had advantages, but there were a couple of disadvantages, weren't there?
So there's a scene when Terry cuts the gills into his neck on the beach towards the end with Nigel, and then Manfish kind of walks off into the sea, turns around and is like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you cutting your throat? And it was really early morning and we were shooting the scene, and Matty had to walk out. So there's a shot where he walks out, and then we cut that scene. But he walked out and the eyes used to pop out of the mask so it'd make it more breathable for the actor. But unfortunately, he had been wearing this costume for like 11 days, and he'd been brilliant. And then for some reason, and it ended up obviously in the editing room floor, he walks out into the sea, and then as he turns around, his eyes are missing, and he's like, my eyes! We were like, cut the camera, fuck! And there was about 10, 12 of us all kind of stood around on the beach, and the eyes were obviously just gone in the water. Matty was trying to look for him, but he couldn't see it. So I had to take all of my clothes off and get down to my pants and go in the sea and try and rescue the eyes, because we had a whole day of shooting with the Manfish. So I took all my clothes off, went into the sea whilst sort of 12 grown men stood around and watched me. And unfortunately, it wasn't a successful rescue mission. Obviously, the eyes just like disappeared. And in the edit, we slowed it down frame by frame, and you can see them kind of sinking into the sea. I couldn't see that at the time. So we lost the eyes completely. Thankfully, so it meant thankfully it didn't hold us up for too long. We kind of reshuffled the day, and Steve only lived down the road from Canvey Island, so we had to call up Steve and saying, can you can you give us a new set of eyes, but we're going to need them by tomorrow. Then unfortunately Matty, who was playing the Manfish, he was working at Sainsbury's at the time, so he had to do an entire day in Sainsbury's the next day. So I had to turn up with the next day. We had no permits. Myself and the DOP and his girlfriend as an assistant. I had to put the Manfish suit on and then go in the sea and try and recreate Matty's movements, so that we had in the edit that shot of Manfish looking on and then diving into the sea. So I ended up making it into the film as Manfish, but I've got a really fat neck if you slow it down.
To be there, really.
But it was testament to Steve, really, because without Steve, we called up Steve frantically. Steve, we need some new eyes because they're halfway to China.
Once I stopped laughing, it was all right.
Yeah. And then he very kindly delivered to him the next day, so we had a new set of eyes for the last 2 days of shooting.
Amazing. I would have liked to have seen that in the post-credits. That would
man.
have been really good.
It's a low point for me, so I don't want to talk about it.
Spencer, do we have any audience questions?
Yeah, do we have some questions out here? Hands in the air, please. Oh, hang on, we can go around here.
I live in Leytonstone, and I was wondering what scenes were shot in Leytonstone.
The scenes that were shot in Leytonstone are the pub scenes. There's a pub in Leytonstone around the back called the North Star, is it called? Yeah, the North Star, yeah. And there's a very lovely guy who owns it, and I contacted him over Facebook, and I was like, I need to shoot a film. It was during lockdown, so the pub wasn't open, but we had permits to shoot in there legally. I think we did. And he was really lovely. He let us come in and we shot there for 2 days. And we shot all of the pub stuff within 2 days. And he was, Mike, I can't remember his name, but he was absolutely lovely. He let us shoot there for free. Really lovely guy. And a very cool pub as well. It was cool, wasn't it? Yeah.
Did I have another question?
Yeah, so I've got a question. I know some of these actors and I know some of their work. And some of they're already great actors. But I do want to know how you managed to get such beautifully pitch perfect, powerful, authentic and nuanced performances from every single one of them in every single scene, because it was brilliantly done.
Thank you. Yeah, very kind. As I said, I knew quite a few of them, so that kind of made things a lot easier as well, because I used to be an actor many years ago, mainly in comedy, and so it was a case of calling up lots of friends. There's a few people who I tutor with. I also teach film, and Choc Ice was a tutor. So was Liam, who plays Nigel, who's also Big Mad Andy from Peep Show, if anyone remembers Peep Show. He was great. My background really, years ago, really isn't in film, it's in theatre. So I can't really understand how you would do films without rehearsals, and I know rehearsals in film is a kind of, nobody ever does it really. So we just made sure that we had 3 full days of rehearsals where we could kind of work everything out in a rehearsal room, work out all the gags, and make sure all the timing was correct, so that when we turned up on set, because we only had 12 days to shoot, everyone kind of knew what they were doing, so then they would kind of just sort of smash it on the day, really.
Yeah, but I smash Manfish.
Yeah, well, no, you raised the bar. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Abigail.
Hi. These feel like really personal questions, not about film. I wanted to ask you how you got a producer on board, and also what your budget was and how you financed it.
So there's another producer on board called Gav, who can't be here tonight. He's a producer who hadn't done a feature before, so there's a common theme that runs through the whole film, which is not many people have done a feature before, so we're all kind of making it up as we go along. So I've become a producer over the years just out of necessity, not because I want to, because I really don't want to, because it's a nightmare. But Gav was a friend of the DOP's, and Gav liked the idea when he came on board. So Gav kind of looked after all of the real kind of paperwork, permit side of things, and I looked after all of the casting and operational stuff. And then on the day, he was there every day, just being a producer. He was fantastic. So again, it's kind of just come through a friend of a friend, really. Budget-wise, I hate this, because every time I listen to filmmaking podcasts, we're kind of in talks with distribution people and stuff at the minute about film, so I can't really talk about the budget, because if I tell them the budget, they find out, they'll do me over, and I won't earn any money. But it was very low. I mean, it was low. And Last question. Yeah, mainly Rishi Sunak helped out. Let's put it that way. And it was mainly kind of self-financed. Yeah, I kind of just decided. I realised that nobody was going to give me any money to make my first film because I was technically a nobody. Yes, I've made some shorts and what have you, but no one's really going to give you any money to make your first film. So it was kind of like, well, how much can I actually save up and get? And then we need to reverse engineer it. So we have this amount of money, what can we do for this amount of money? Well, we're going to have to shoot the whole thing in a house and 2 days on the set kind of thing. So you're always kind of working backwards. So yes, it was self-financed, should we say. My wife's here tonight, so she's probably, she's not happy about that. But very sportive.
Okay, we've got time for one more. Have we got a hand somewhere? Is it behind me? Ah, there you go, there you go, there you go.
What's your next project?
What's your next project?
Next project.
One by one?
Yeah, next project one by one, that'd be good. I kind of, so I'm hoping to shoot it by the end of the year. So it's another feature film. It's currently called Wet Dreams. I might have to change that title. It's not a porno, and it's hopefully going to be a witch film set in a working man's club over in Essex. So I'm developing it at the minute, and I'm hoping to have a draft in the next kind of month or so. And I'd like to shoot it by the end of the year if I can find some cash. But again, this one definitely won't be self-financed, so I need to sleep with someone so I get some cash.
Look at me again, I suppose.
I don't know what your next project is. What are you doing?
Well, hopefully that film you just talked about.
Yeah.
It sounds right up my street. And I mean, next one will be that's filmed or is coming out, or I've got a few. Actually, I think there might be here tonight. Jonathan Zuring and Michael Forsty. Which I'll probably pronounce wrong. Two directors I'm working with at the moment, and we'll be working with one of them soon. I've got a psychological drama called Charlotte coming out. She's really serious. She's not a very nice person. Completely different to Terry. Yeah, that's a feature film, and that's coming out very soon. And I've got a little bit in Top Boy, season 4. So look out for that. Yeah, got to get the plugs in while you can. Actually, while I'm here, if you want a postcard, look, tons on me. I'll give them out. I can't give them away. So yeah, a lovely postcard to give out. Next.
Same as you really, except not acting in films. I'd love to do Marc's film, fingers crossed I get asked to do that. And for me, just working on stuff for my shop really, designing some silicone masks ranging from really, I've just released a sort of mad, scary clown called Uncle Bingo. And we did a little 9-minute video for YouTube of him having a date with a friend of mine, Charlie, who's actually in the audience tonight, who plays a female zombie, and it's like a weird 9-minute film about a date between a mad clown and a zombie. So check out My Magic Studios YouTube if you want to have a laugh. Yeah, that kind of stuff for me really.
Yeah, nothing big in the pipeline at the minute, sort of just odd jobbing around. But
Jim's working on Wet Dreams with me.
Fine, I'll do it.
He doesn't like to talk about it. No one wants to talk about Wet Dreams. No, you made it sound like
no, we're supposed to kind of workshopping what we're going to do with that, really, aren't we? So yeah, that's the next.
So Marc, what's next for Manfish specifically?
So yeah, we've entered a few other festivals, I guess, around the country. So 2022, I guess, will be about kind of getting it out and about there around the country. And then as I said, we're currently in talks with a sales representative and stuff, and it's early talks, so nothing huge yet. So I guess eventually it will be to hopefully try and sell it. And then if we do make any money off it, which unfortunately doesn't always work that way with the way the British film industry works, but if we can make something of it, then that will go towards the next thing.
I don't think you should have any problem getting it bought by anyone because it's so good.
Thank you.
So good. Is there any other last questions, Spencer?
That's it.
No? So yeah, thank you so much, guys,
Thank
for
you.
submitting the film and joining us.